Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Macon-Bibb County Commission meeting. We have a hearing tonight, a public hearing for the abandonment of L Street. We spoke about this briefly last week, and we have a legal requirement to have a hearing and hear from any community members regarding this issue. So at this time, I'll turn it over to our attorney to give us the basic information and answer any questions that we may have.
Good afternoon. Oh, sorry, sir. Good afternoon, Mayor Miller, Commissioners, Macon-Bibb County. We're here for a public hearing on the abandonment of right-of-ways actually within the parcel known as 520 L Street. This is a little bit different than our normal hearings. We'll not actually be abandoning any sort of road right-of-way or road pathway. However, this parcel came into the county's ownership via a right-of-way deed. And because in that deed it is referenced as a right-of-way, in order to ensure we're above board with all legal requirements imposed on us, we're going to go ahead and do a abandonment of any remaining right-of-way rights within that 520 L Street parcel.
Thank you for the information. Ladies and gentlemen, is there anyone here tonight, this afternoon, that would like to make any comments publicly regarding the abandonment of L Street that was just discussed? Any commissioners have any questions for our attorneys? Okay. Hearing no questions and there's no members of the public here at this time, we'll go ahead and end this portion of our meeting and begin with our Macon-Bibb County regular pre-commission meeting schedule. At this time, I'd like to go ahead and call the Tuesday, March the 21st pre-commission, acting as a committee of the whole meeting, to order. Welcome everyone here today. We do have a relatively short agenda, and we have a regular scheduled meeting tonight at 6 o'clock. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. This is approval of the minutes from March the 7th, 2023 meeting. Can I get a motion to approve by commissioners? Motion by Commissioner Tillman, second by Commissioner Wilder. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and we sent the consent agenda. Item 2 is contracts, agreements for implementation or renewal. 2A, a resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to enter a contractor service agreement with Cone Inc. for elevator modernization services at Macon-Bibb County City Hall in the amount of $440,000 to be paid from Capital Improvement Fund, Facilities Management, Building and Building Improvements line item. As you recall, we've had some issues here in our elevator and people have not been able to use that. We included the amount of money in our previous capital improvements plan, and this is actually the contract related to that. So this time I'd entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Jones. We have a second. Second by Commissioner Howell. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item B is a resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to execute a purchase and sale agreement with Great Southern Recreation in the amount of $147,974 for the purchase and installation of playcraft pavilion equipment at Bowding Golf Course. You can see a picture on the screen. Also, Elaine H. Lucas Senior Center and Frankie Everett Lewis Memorial Park, with funds to be paid from the Capital Improvement Funds, Recreation, Building and Building Improvement line item. Likewise, this is a capital improvement previously agreed for by this commission about a month or so ago, and this is the bid that came back, and we're asking tonight for a motion to approve. This time, I entertain a motion for approval. Got a motion to approve by Commissioner Lucas. We have a second? Second by Commissioner Tillman. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item C is a resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to execute a lease agreement with the Urban Development Authority for the lease of certain space in the Macon Health Plaza located at 171 Emory Highway for a term of 2 years to sublease in accordance with the mission of that authority, with 90% of net rents being remitted to the Macon-Bibb County. And at this time, I entertain a motion for approval. Motion to approve by Commissioner Tillman. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Howell. Commissioner Lucas.
Thank you. It says on here 90% of the net rents
That's
will
correct.
come to Macon-Bibb. I know in the past we've had questions about property. Well, I have had some questions about properties and the amount of money that we would receive, because in a lot of cases, Urban Development Authority would get all of the proceeds, and but the 10%, I'm assuming, is
10% is the standard agreement that we have. It's just 10%
That-
of the rentals.
okay. That
Yeah.
is better.
Right. And so
Much
basically, we're
better.
gonna allow them to sublease that for a short period of time with that one little property there on the end. And in exchange for that, any rents they receive, we will get 90% and they will get 10%. Okay? Any other questions? Hearing no questions, we do have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries, will be sent to consent agenda. Item 3A is a resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the acceptance of a local assistance and tribal consistency fund grant from the U.S. Department of Treasury in the amount of $100,000 with no local match to be used by Macon-Bibb County government for the entrance of the Omugging Mounds National Historic Park and other improvements to impact the growth in parks surrounding that area, referred to as LATCF. At this time, sure. I think, Ms. Moore or Mr. Morrison, if you get some information.
We were a little surprised to realize that we were eligible for this money. They sent us a note saying that because we were consolidated, we were eligible to get the $50,000 this year and next year. Because it did have some tribal relative news to it, we decided it might be best just to say that that $100,000 over these 2 years would then be able to be used for any upgrades near the entrance. It's as far as we know, it's the only time we'll get it. Anything in that area. I mean, it's very, the actual money they're giving us is very flexible, so it's nothing that we have to be too terribly concerned about being restrictive with it.
The only thing we gotta do is accept it. Is that all, Commissioner Lucas? Mayor Pro Tem Clark?
Yeah, I think this is great. I would just ask that we reach out to Chief Hill's administration and work with them too, since it does have a tribal element too. But this is fantastic, and I'd love to be a co-sponsor.
Sure. We'll add you as a co-sponsor. This time, we entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
A motion by, who was that? Somebody real quick.
It was
Okay.
Jones.
Commissioner Jones, second by whoever was next. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item B is a resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to accept a FAA airport infrastructure grant funded by the bipartisan infrastructure law in a modified amount of up to $2,011,093 with no local match for the purpose of rehabilitating the taxiway C at Middle Georgia Regional Airport. This is something we've been discussing for a while after the expansion agreement, and this is a no match requirement. So this time I entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Howell. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Jones. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item 4 is streetlight improvement. Resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission approving a request for the installation of additional streetlights along Vista Circle pursuant to Article 10 of Chapter 29 of the Macon-Bibb County Code of Ordinances, with operating costs of $14.54 per month to be borne by the Facilities Department budget. Services of Government, electric line item, that's a lot. Another approval for commissioners tonight, and we think we have one more on the agenda. This time we'd entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Lucas. Do we have a second? Second by, who is that? Commissioner Tillman and Commissioner Lucas, you had a question?
No, I just wanted to say that we had a discussion in Pedestrian Safety Review Board earlier today, and they were very, very pleased, not only that the mayor and commission had allocated additional funding that's never been done really before, but they were also pleased. We made note of the fact that there are a number of these additional improvements that we've been voting on for the last several meetings that we've had, and they're very, very pleased with that, and they thank the mayor and commission.
Thank you, Commissioner Lucas. Commissioner Jones?
Yes, sir. Where is the street light exactly on Vista Circle? Somebody tell me.
Have to look back at the document. I think Ms. Beavers can maybe give us an update.
That streetlight will be installed adjacent to 1132 Vista Circle.
Okay, that doesn't help a lot, but
That was,
no offense.
that was, Mr. Riles's finding with
Okay.
the survey that was done.
Adjacent to 1132 Vista Circle.
Yes, sir.
Okay, do we
I've got a
know?
copy of that, Commissioner Jones. It was included in your packet online, but if you didn't print that, we can show you that.
Excuse me, 3112. I am a little bit, can't read this afternoon.
It's
3112.
to the street.
That light will be closer to the intersection of Vista Circle and Emily Place.
Emily Place, yeah, that's what I was looking for. Okay, I know about where it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. Mayor Pro Tem Clark?
I'd just like to be added as a co-sponsor.
Sure thing. Any other questions from Commissioner? We do have a motion and a second. I'm sorry, Commissioner Howell?
I was just gonna tell Commissioner Jones that it's 2 houses down from the intersection.
That's your district? We'll tell them that. Okay, we do have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item B is a similar action. It's a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission approving a request for installation of 2 additional lights at the intersection of Llewellyn Drive and Bertha Drive. Same article code that we have, and a cost of about $29.08 per month to be paid from facilities management budget. At this time, we'd entertain a motion for approval. A motion by Commissioner Tillman. Do we have a second? Second by Mayor Pro Tem Clark. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Be sent to consent agenda. Item A is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission agreeing to participate in the National Teva, Allergen, CVS, Walgreens, and Walmart settlements, and agreeing to be bound by the anticipated memorandum of understanding between the state of Georgia and Georgia subdivisions regarding the National Teva, Allergen, CVS, Walgreens, and Walmart settlements. This is something we previously discussed. At this time, we'd entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner Wilder. We have a second. Second by Commissioner Howell. Any questions? Sure. I'll let our attorneys do that. So we'll have Attorney McNeil to come and let people at home know. We've discussed this opioid settlement, but we'll let them a little bit more information so they'll know what we're doing here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is part of the ongoing multi-district litigation that's being litigated in the federal courts in Ohio. We joined as one of almost every municipality and county in the nation in suing the manufacturers and distributors of various opioid products from 1994 forward is basically our claim period. And these 5 defendants, Teva and Allergan, I believe, are distributors of hydrocodone and various opioid medications. CVS, Walgreens, and Walmart are retailers. They have all agreed to settlements. And basically the way that it works is they're going to create a pool of funds that is going to be allocated to the state of Georgia. The state has already opted into accepting these settlements, and then the state will enter into an agreement with each locality to distribute the funds on a percentage basis based on their impact. That dollar amount hasn't been specifically determined yet, but the court is asking for the localities to opt in at this stage rather than waiting for the states to give us their specific dollar amount. And so we've had a few of these come through already, and the ones that we've done in the past have been in the range of high 5 figures, low 6 figures per defendant. So I'm anticipating it'll be somewhere similar for these. And those funds are earmarked under the structured settlement that the federal court is approving, where it has to be used for certain uses related to the mitigation of the harm that opioids have caused to the community. So things like buying Narcan, making it available for our deputies and firefighters, training, things like that.
At yesterday's Board of Health meeting, we had a presentation on the opioid situation. And the person who's in charge of it wants to come at an appropriate time set by this commission and present some information, because there's some new initiatives where they're making sure that all law enforcement and other health agencies have access to Narcan, that they're trained in the use of it. They're looking at the schools and other sites to make sure, because we have had a spike in opioid deaths. And there are some hotels where there have been some situations happening. Some ended in the deaths, and some people were brought back by the use of the Narcan. And we were told that they're initiating some training of all of the hotel staff people, including housekeeping. So I think that would be interesting information to be brought to us to let us know what's happening in the community. And there's some new drugs, not just the fentanyl, which is the one we're hearing a lot about, but there's a new drug that is an animal, what is it when you put them to sleep? It's used with animals, but folks are starting to use it, and so it was just really scary to hear that information. I think we'd all benefit from getting the latest. They're staying on top of this. They're getting with other entities that are also working with this. But the way it was described, it's a real serious problem.
Yeah, I agree. It's certainly something we need to address, and I think one thing that we got ahead of the curve on is when we filed those nuisance actions that involved numerous calls to some of these hotels, motels, a lot of them involve ambulances and other issues where people passed away. One of the requirements in our settlement with the hotels is they have access and have machines there for the Narcans to be distributed. So we recognize it's a serious incident, and we'll be happy to schedule that at an appropriate time for someone to come talk about it. So at this time, we have a motion and a second. We need to take a vote. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. I'm not aware of any need to go into executive session tonight. If we do, we'll go back into regular meeting at 6 o'clock, and we'll take a executive session then. But right now, Commissioner Lucas?
Yes, one last thing, and I do plan to repeat some of these remarks at the end under a point of personal privilege when we have our commission meeting. But I do want to remind each of you, the mayor and commissioners, as well as all of our citizens, that there is a pending issue that is of concern to me and a large number of other folks. We are distributing a petition, and as of today, we have between 500 and 600 signatures on these paper petitions, as well as an online petition asking this commission to take a stand in opposition to the proposed bus fare increases, and also to ask the Transit Authority to take that position of opposition, or at least hold off on doing that. And I've already told you about our poverty rate. You're well aware that our poverty rate is over 25%. And it's higher if you just take out the city of Macon. There are about 20% of Macon's residents who don't have a car. The homeless population is huge. All you got to do, I just passed under the Gray Highway Spring Street Bridge. There are a number of folks who are there and are there all the time, and up in the interstate there asking for money. Usually there are 300 to 400 children with their families who are depending on the transit system for getting around. Also remember that depending on where you live in Macon, your life expectancy is reduced in some cases by 10 years. We need to remember those kinds of things and remember that the folks who are utilizing the transit services are these same folks. And every one of you, all of you have some of these folks living in your districts. The last thing I want to share, and I do appreciate the administration for providing me the information that I requested on the Transit Authority in the fiscal year 22-23. This chart shows that there was $3,394,683.47, which was the budgeted amount from Macon-Bibb going to the Macon Transit Authority. And I understand this is not the total figure, that there are other monies to be added to this total amount. This money is coming not only from us and not only from affluent folks, it's also coming from everybody who buys anything. Everybody pays taxes, and everybody's money is going into the funding of the Transit Authority. So I urge you to take into account that there are many cities that are going to zero fare, especially in light of the fact that there's so much federal money that's pouring into these communities, and it's to alleviate the impacts of COVID, but also of poverty in these communities. So let's have a heart for the least of these. Take into account that over 500 folks have signed the petition saying they were eager to sign. They said, oh, yes. And here are some of them. And these have come from churches, civic groups all over the place. And if you want to see them, you're welcome to see. And we have the district. The person put down the district that they live in. So you can see that it's people from all over. And this is the article that I'm going to make available to you and to the Transit Authority on Washington, D.C., which is making public buses free forever. And so these are some things that I'd like to ask you to consider. And also at the appropriate time, maybe we can make a decision that we want to come down on the side of the folks who are having to use public transit. Thank you for indulging me with that information.
Thank you, Commissioner Lucas. At this time, we don't have any more business to take care of on our pre-commission meeting, so we'll stand adjourned until 6 o'clock to our regularly scheduled meeting.